Who goes there?
The keys.
Whose keys?
King Henry's keys.
Pass King Henry's keys, and all's well.
God preserve King Henry.
Amen.
When made in love she sits and sighs, she wanders to and fro. Unbidden teardrops fill her eyes, and to our questions she replies with a sad hi-ho. 'Tis but a little word, hi-ho, so soft 'tis scarcely heard. Hi-ho, an idle breath, yet life and death may hang upon a maid's hi-ho. An idle breath, yet life and death may hang upon a maid's hi-ho. When made in love she mopes apart as owl mopes on a tree. Although she keenly feels the smart, she cannot tell what ails her heart with its sad ah me. 'Tis but a foolish sigh, ah me, born but to droop and die. Ah me, yet all the sense of eloquence lies hidden in a maid's ah me. Yet all the sense of eloquence lies hidden in a maid's ah me. Ah me, ah me, yet all the sense of eloquence lies hidden in a maid's ah me.
Mistress Meryll.
Oh, it's you, is it? You may go away if you like, because I don't want you, you know.
Haven't you anything to say to me?
Oh, yes. Are the birds all caged? The wild beasts all littered down? All the locks, chains, bars, and bolts in good order? Is the little ease sufficiently uncomfortable? The racks, pincers, and thumbscrews all ready for work? Oh, you brute.
These allusions to my professional duties are in doubtful taste. I didn't become a head jailer because I like head jailing. I didn't become an assistant tormentor because I like assistant tormenting. We can't all be sorcerers, you know. Aha, you brought that upon yourself.
And Colonel Fairfax is not a sorcerer. He is a man of science and an alchemist.
Well, whatever he is, he won't be one for long, for he's to be beheaded today for dealings with the devil. His master nearly had him last night when the fire broke out in the Beauchamp Tower.
Oh, how I wish he had escaped in the confusion. But take care. There is still time for a reply to his petition for mercy.
I'm content to chance that. Tonight at 7:30. Ah!
You're a cruel monster to speak so unfeelingly of the death of a young and handsome soldier.
Young and handsome? How do you know he's young and handsome?
Because I've seen him every day for weeks past, taking his exercise on the Beauchamp Tower.
Curse him!
There, I believe you're jealous of him now. Jealous of a man I've never spoken to. Jealous of a poor soul who's to die in an hour.
I am jealous of him. Why, I'm jealous of everybody and everything. I'm jealous of the very words I speak to you, for they reach your ears, and I mustn't go near them.
How unjust you are. Jealous of the words you speak to me. Why, you know as well as I do that I don't even like them.
You used to like them.
I used to pretend I liked them. It was mere politeness to comparative strangers.
I don't believe you know what jealousy is. I don't believe you know how it eats at a man's very heart and disorders his digestion and turns his interior into boiling lead. Oh, you're a heartless jade to trifle with the delicate organization of the human interior. When jealous torments rack my soul, my agonies I can't control. Oh, better sit on red-hot coals than love a heartless jade. For red-hot coals will hurt, no doubt, but red-hot coals in time die out. While jealousies you cannot rout, their fires will never fade. It's much less painful on the whole to go and sit on a red-hot coal till you're completely flayed, or ask a kindly friend to crack your wretched bones upon the rack, than love a heartless jade, than love a heartless jade. The kerchief on your neck of snow I look on as a deadly foe. It goeth where I may not go and stops there all day long. The belt that holds you in its grasp is to my peace of mind a rasp. It claspeth where I may not clasp. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's much less painful on the whole to go and sit on a red-hot coal till you're completely flayed, or ask a kindly friend to crack your wretched bones upon the rack, than love a heartless jade, than love a heartless jade. The bird that breakfasts on your lip, I would I had him in my grip. He sippeth where I may not sip, I can't get over that. The cat you fondle, soft and sly, he lieth where I may not lie. We're not on terms, that cat and I do not like that cat. It's much less painful on the whole to go and sit on a red-hot coal till you're completely flayed, or ask a kindly friend to crack your wretched bones upon the rack, than love a heartless jade, than love a heartless jade. Or ask a kindly friend to crack your wretched bones upon the rack, then love a heartless jade.
so spent, and our days are not so faded, but that we with one consent were our horrid land invaded, still would face a foreign foe, as in days of long ago, still would face a foreign foe, as in days of long ago, as in days of long ago. As in days of long ago.
A good day, Corporal.
Good day to you, Dame Carruthers. Busy today?
Busy? Aye. The fire in the Beecham last night has given me work enough. 12 poor prisoners, Richard Colfax, Sir Martin Byfleet, Colonel Fairfax, Warren, the preacher poet, and half a score others all packed into one small cell, not 6 feet square. Poor Colonel Fairfax, who is to die today, is to be removed to number 14 in the Cold Harbor Tower so that he may have his last hour alone with his confessor, and I've to see to that.
Poor gentleman. He'll die bravely. I fought under him 2 years since, and he valued his life as it were a feather.
He's the bravest, the handsomest, and the best young gentleman in England. He twice saved my father's life, and it is a cruel thing, a wicked thing, and a barbarous thing that so gallant a hero should lose his head, for it's the handsomest head in England.
For dealings with the devil. Aye, if all were beheaded who dealt with him, there'd be busy doings on Tower Green.
You know very well that Colonel Fairfax is a student of alchemy, nothing more and nothing less. But this wicked tower, like a cruel giant in a fairy tale, must be fed with blood. And that blood must be the bravest and best in England, or it's not good enough for the old blunderbuss.
Silence! You silly girl, you know not what you say. I was born in the old keep, and I've grown grey in it. And please God, I shall die and be buried in it. And there's not a stone in its walls that is not as dear to me as my own right hand. When our gallant Norman foes made our Meryll and the Rhone, and the Saxons from the Conqueror were flying, at his bidding it arose in its panoply of stone, a sentinel unliving and undying. Insensible, I trow, as a sentinel should be, though a queen to save her head should come a-suing. There's a legend on its brow that is eloquent to me, and it tells all duty done and duty doing. The screw may twist and the rat may turn, and men may bleed and men may burn. I looked into frog, the flower of the brave, hath perished with the constancy unshaken. From the dungeon to the block, from the scaffold to the grave, is a journey many gallant hearts have taken. And the wicked flames may hiss from the heroes who have fought for conscience and for home and all its beauty. But the stern of fortalice takes little heed of aught that comes not in the measure of its duty. The screw may twist and the rod may turn, and men may bleed and men may burn, or looked in tongue and its golden hoard, I keep my silent watch and ward. The screw may twist and the rod may
Has no reprieve arrived for the poor gentleman?
No, my lass, but there is one hope yet. Thy brother Leonard, as a reward for his valor in battle, has been appointed a Yeoman of the Guard. He arrives today, and as he comes straight from Windsor, it may be that he brings the expected reprieve with him.
Oh, that he may.
Amen to that. For the colonel twice saved my life, and I'd give the rest of my life to save his. And wilt thou not be glad to welcome thy brave brother, with the fame of whose exploits all England is a-ringing?
Aye, truly, if he brings the reprieve.
And not otherwise.
Well, he's a brave fellow indeed, and I love brave men.
All brave men?
Most of them, I verily believe. But I hope Leonard will not be too strict with me. They say he is a very dragon of virtue and circumspection. Now, my dear father is kindness itself,
and leaves thee pretty well to thine own ways, eh? Well, I've no fears for thee. Thou hast a feather brain, but thou art a good lass.
Yes, that's all very well, but if Leonard is going to tell me that I may not do this, and I may not do that, and I must not talk to this one or walk with that one, but must go through the world with my lips pursed up and my eyes cast down like a poor nun who has renounced mankind, why, as I have not renounced mankind and don't mean to renounce mankind, I won't have it. There.
Hey, he'll not check thee more than is good for thee, Phoebe. He's a brave fellow, and bravest among brave fellows. And yet, it seems but yesterday that he robbed the lieutenant's orchard. A laughing boy but yesterday, a merry urchin blithe and gay, whose joyous shout came ringing out, unchecked by care or sorrow. Today a warrior all sun-brown, whose deeds of soldierly renown are all the boast of London town. A veteran tomorrow, today a warrior, a veteran tomorrow. When at my Leonard's deeds sublime, a soldier's pulse beats double time, and brave hearts thrill, as brave hearts will, at tales of martial glory, I burn with flush of pride and joy, a pride unbittered by alloy. to find my boy, my darling boy, the theme of song and story, to find my darling boy, the theme of song and story, to find my boy, my darling boy, the theme of song and story.
Father!
Leonard, my brave boy, I'm right glad to see thee. And so is Phoebe.
Aye, hast thou brought Colonel Fairfax's reprieve?
Nay. I have here a dispatch for the lieutenant, but no reprieve for the colonel.
Poor gentleman, poor gentleman.
Aye, I would I had brought better news. I'd give my right arm, nay, my body, my life to save his.
Speakest thou in earnest, lad?
Aye, father, I'm no braggart. Did he not save thy life? And am I not his foster brother?
Then hearken to me. Thou hast come to join the yeomen of the guard.
Well?
And none has seen thee but ourselves?
And the sentry who took scant notice of me.
Now to prove thy words, give me the dispatch and get thee hence at once. Here's money, and I'll send thee more. Lie hidden for a space and let no one know. I'll convey a suit of yeoman uniform to the colonel's cell. He shall shave off his beard so that none shall know him, and I'll own him as my son, Leonard Meryll, who saved his flag and fought his way through 50 foes who thirsted for his life. He'll be accepted without question by my brother Yeoman, I'll warrant that. Now, how to gain access to the colonel's cell. The key lies with thy sour-faced admirer, Wilfred Shadbolt.
I think I can get anything I want from Wilfred. I think you may leave that to me.
And get thee hence at once, lad, and bless thee for this sacrifice.
And take my blessings too, dear, dear Leonard.
And thine, eh? Thy love is newborn. Wrap it up carefully, lest it take cold and die.
Alas, I wavered to and fro, John danger hangs upon the deed.
Not danger hangs upon the deed. The steed is rash and well made well. The arms are not, the heart and well. The hands that shrink, the cheeks that pale in hours of fear. No hearts are not, the hearts that wail. The hands that shrink, the cheeks that pale. The hands that shrink, the cheeks that pale in hours of fear. The air I breathe, in my own, my life is his, I count it not. That life is his, so count it not. And shall I brag, risks my honorable service, days are to be done, saving the life of such a one. Unworthy gods, and shall we brag and praise, we run to save the life of such a one. Unworthy thought, unworthy thought. We may succeed, who can foretell? May heaven help our hope. May heaven help our hope. Farewell. May heaven help our hope. Farewell.
Nay, lass, be of good cheer. We may save him yet.
Oh, Father, see, they bring the poor gentleman from the beach. Oh, Father, his hour is not yet come.
No, they take him to the Cold Harbor Tower to await his end in solitude.
Oh.
But softly, the lieutenant approaches. He should not see thee weep.
Halt! Colonel Fairfax, my old friend. We meet, but sadly.
Sir, I greet you with all goodwill and thank you for the zealous care with which you have guarded me from the pestilent dangers that threaten human life outside. In this happy little community, death, when he comes, doth so in punctual and businesslike fashion, and, like a courtly gentleman, giveth due notice of his advent, that one may not be taken unawares.
Sir, you bear this bravely, as a brave man should.
Why, sir, 'tis no light boon did I swiftly, and surely at a given hour, and in a given fashion. The truth to tell, I would gladly have my life. But if that cannot be, I have the next best thing to it, which is death. Believe me, sir, my lot is not so much amiss.
Oh, Father, I cannot bear it.
My poor lass.
Nay, pretty one, why weepest thou? Come, be comforted. Such a life as mine is not worth weeping for. Sergeant Meryll, is it not? May I greet my old friend? Why, man, what's all this? Thou and I have faced the grim old king a dozen times, and never has his majesty come to me in such goodly fashion. Keep a stout heart, good fellow. We are soldiers, and we know how to die, thou and I. Take my word for it, it is easier to die well than to live well, for in sooth I have tried both. Is life a boon? If so, it must befall, that death, whene'er he call, must call too soon. Though fourscore years he give, yet one would pray to live another moon. What kind of plaint have I, who perish in July, who perish in July? I might have had to die, perchance, in June. I might have had to die, perchance, in June. Is life a thorn? Then count it not a whit. Nay, count it not a whit. Man is well done with it. Soon as he's born, he should on means essay to put the plague away. And I, warworn, for captured fugitive, my life most gladly give. I might have had to live another morn. I might have had to live another morn. Now, Sir Richard, I have a boon to beg. I'm in this strait for no better reason than because my kinsman, Sir Clarence Poltwhistle, one of the secretaries of state, has charged me with sorcery in order that he may succeed to my estate, which devolves to him provided I die unmarried.
Which thou wilt most surely do.
Nay, as I will most surely not do by your worship's grace. I have mind to thwart this good cousin of mine.
How?
By marrying forthwith, to be sure.
But heaven have mercy, whom wouldst thou marry?
Nay, I am indifferent on that score. Coming death hath made of me a true and chivalrous knight, one who holds womankind in such esteem that the oldest and the meanest and the worst favorite of them is good enough for him. So, my good lieutenant, will thou serve a poor soldier who has but an hour to live, and find me the first that comes? My confessor shall marry us, and her dower shall be my dishonored name and 100 crowns to boot. No such poor dower for an hour of matrimony.
It's a strange request. I doubt that I should be warranted in granting it.
There never was a marriage fraught with so little evil to the contracting parties. In an hour, she'll be a widow, and I, bachelor again for aught I know.
Well, I'll see what can be done, for I hold thy kinsman in abhorrence for the scurvy trick he hath played thee.
1,000 thanks, good sir. We meet again on this spot in an hour or so. I will be a bridegroom then, and your worship will wish me joy. Till then, farewell.
Farewell.
I am ready, good fellows.
He is a brave fellow, and it's a pity that he should die. Now, how to find him a wife at such short notice? Well, the task should be easy.
satisfy you, for we are merry folk, who would make all merry as ourselves. For look you, there is humour in all things, and the truest philosophy is that which teaches us to find it and to make the most of it.
That's always a mannerly fellow!
Oh, ha! Didst thou hear her say, hands off?
Aye, I heard her say it and I felt her do it. What then?
Thou dost not see the humour of that?
Nay, if I do, hang me.
Thou dost not. Now observe, she said, hands off. Whose hands? Thine. Of whom? Of her. Why? Because she is a woman. Now, had she not been a woman, thine hands had not been set upon her at all. So the reason for the laying on of hands is the reason for the taking off of hands. And herein is contradiction contradicted. It is the very marriage of pro with con, and no such lopsided union either as times go. For pro is not more unlike con than man is unlike woman.
Enough philosophy.
But men and women marry every day, with none to say, oh, the pity of it, but I, and fools like me. Now, wherewithal shall we please you? We can rhyme you couplet, trilet, quatrain, sonnet, rondelet, ballade, what you will. Or we may dance you saraband, gandelet, carol, pimpernel, or jumping Joan.
Let us give them the singing farce of the merry man and his maid. Therein is song and dance too.
I have a song to sing, oh.
Sing me your song, oh.
It is sung to the moon by a lovelorn loon who fled from the mocking throng. Oh, it's the song of a merry man moping mum, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb as he sighed for the love of a lady. Hey, hey, misery me, lack-a-day-dee. He sipped no sup and he craved no crumb as he sighed for the love of a lady.
I have a song to sing, oh.
What is your song, oh?
It is sung with the ring of the songs made sing, who love with a love lifelong. Oh, it's the song of a merry maid, peerly proud, who loved her lord and who laughed aloud at the moan of a merry man moping mum, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love of a lady. Hey,
hey, misery me, lack-a-day-dee. He sipped no sup and he craved no crumb as he sighed for the love of a lady. I have a song to sing, oh.
Sing me your song, oh.
It is sung to the knell of a churchyard bell and a doleful dirge ding-dong, oh. It's the song of a popinjay bravely born, who turned up his noble nose with corn at the humble merry maid peerly proud, who loved a lord and who laughed aloud at the moan of a merry man moping mum, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb as he sighed for the love of a lady. Hey-dee, hey-dee, misery me, lack-a-day-dee. He sipped no sup and he craved no crumb as he sighed for the love of a lady.
I have a song to sing, oh.
Sing me your song, oh.
It is sung with a sigh and a tear in the eye, for it tells of righted wrong, oh. It's the song of a merry maid, Lague, who turned on a hill and tripped away from a peacock popinjay bravely born, who turned up his newborn nose with scorn at the humble lodge that he did not prize. So she begged on her knees with downcast eyes for the love of a merry man moping monk, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb as he sighed for the love of a lady.
Hey, lady, misery me, lack-a-day-dee. His days were o'er and he sighed no more, for he came to the love of a lady. Hey, misery me, lack-a-day-dee. His days were o'er and he sighed no more, for he came to the love of a
Well done and well done. And a kiss for that pretty maid.
Best beware, I am aunt.
Back, sirs, back. This is going too far.
Thou dost not see the humor in it? Yet there is humor in everything. Even this.
What is this bother?
Sir, we sang to these folk, and they would have repaid us with gross courtesy before your honour's coming.
Away with ye! Clear the rabble. Now, my girl, who are you, and what do you here?
May it please you, sir, we are two strolling players, Jack Point and I, Elsie Maynard, at your worship's service. We go from fair to fair, singing and dancing and playing brief interludes, and so we make a poor living.
You too, eh? Are ye man and wife?
No, sir, for though I am a fool, there is a limit to my folly. Her mother, old Bridget Maynard, travels with us, for Elsie is a good girl. But the old woman is abed with fever, and we have come here to pick up some silver to buy an electuary for her.
Hark ye, my girl, thy mother is ill.
Sorely ill, sir.
And needs good food and many things that thou canst not buy.
Alas, it is too true.
Wouldst thou earn 100 crowns?
100 crowns? They might save her life.
Then listen. A worthy but unhappy gentleman is to be beheaded in an hour on this very spot.
Oh.
For sufficient reasons he desires to marry before he dies, and he hath asked me to find him a wife. Wilt thou be that wife?
The wife of a man I have never seen.
Why, sir, look you, I am concerned in this, for though I am not yet wedded to Elsie Maynard, time works wonders, and there's no knowing what may be in store for us. Have we your worship's word for it that the gentleman will die today?
Nothing could be more certain, I grieve to say.
And that the maiden will be allowed to depart the very instant the ceremony is at an end.
The very instant I pledge my honor that it shall be so.
100 crowns?
100 crowns.
For my part, I consent. It is for Elsie to speak.
How say you, maiden, will you wed a man about to lose his head? For half an hour you'll be a wife, and then the dower is yours for life. A headless bridegroom why refuse? If truth the poets tell, most bridegrooms ere they marry lose both head and heart as well.
A strange proposal you reveal, it almost makes my senses reel. Alas, I'm very poor indeed, and such a sum I sorely need. My mother, sir, is like to die, this money life may bring. Bear this in mind, I pray, if I consent to do this thing.
Though as a general rule of life, I don't allow my promised wife, my lovely bride that is to be, to marry anyone but me. Yet if the fee is promptly paid, and he in well-earned grave within the hour is duly laid, objection I will waive. Yes, objection I will waive. Temptation, oh temptation, were we agree intended to shun whatever station or fascination splendid, or fall when I review you, head over heels into you, head over heels, head over heels, head over heels into you, head over
So, good fellow, you are a jester.
Aye, and like some of my jests, out of place.
I have a vacancy for such an one. Tell me, what are your qualifications for such a post?
Marry, sir, I have a pretty wit. I can rhyme you extempore. I can convulse you with quip and conundrum. I have the lighter philosophies at my tongue's tip. I can be merry, wise, quaint, grim, and sardonic, one by one or all at once. I have the lighter philosophies. I know all the jests, ancient and modern, past, present, and to come. I can riddle you from dawn of day till set of sun, and if that content you not, well on to midnight and the small hours. Oh, sir, a pretty wit, I warrant you, a pretty, pretty wit. I've jibe and joke, and quip and crank, for lowly folk and men of rank. I ply my craft and know no fear, but aim my shaft at prince or peer, at peer or prince, at prince or peer. I aim my shaft and know no fear. I've wisdom from the east and from the west, that's subject to no academic rule. You may find it in the jeering of a jest, or distill it from the folly of a fool. I can teach you with a quip if I've a mind. I can trick you into learning with a laugh. Oh, winnow all my folly, 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 and you'll find a grain or two of truth among the chaff. Oh, winnow all my folly, 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 and you'll find a grain or two of truth among the chaff. I can set up braggart quailing with a quip. The upstart I can wither with a whim. He may wear a merry laugh upon his lip, but his laughter has an echo that is grim. When they're offered to the world in merry guise, unpleasantness are swallowed with a will. For he who'd make his fellow creatures wise should always gild the philosophic pill. For he who'd make his fellow creatures wise should always gild the philosophic pill.
So, how came you to leave your last employ?
Why, sir, it was in this wise. My lord was the Archbishop of Canterbury, and it was considered that one of my jokes was unsuited to his Grace's family circle. In truth, I venture to ask a poor riddle, sir. Wherein lay the difference between his Grace and poor Jack Point? His Grace was pleased to give it up, sir, and thereupon I told him that, whereas his Grace was paid 10,000 a year for being good, poor Jack Point was good for nothing. 'Twas but a harmless jest, but it offended his Grace, who whipped me and set me in the stocks for a skirl rogue, and so we parted. I had as lief not take post again with the dignified clergy.
But I trust you are very careful not to give offense. I have daughters.
Oh, sir, my jests are most carefully selected, and anything objectionable is expunged.
Can you give me an example? Suppose I sat me down hurriedly on something sharp.
Why then, sir, I should say you had sat down on the spur of the moment.
Oh, I don't think much of that. Is that the best you can do?
It has always been much admired, sir, but we will try again.
Well, I am at dinner, and the joint of meat is but half cooked.
Why then, sir, I should say what is underdone cannot be helped. Cannot be helped.
Oh, I see. Well, I think that manner of thing would be somewhat irritating.
Oh, at first, sir, perhaps, but use is everything, and you would come in time to like it.
Let us suppose that I caught you kissing the kitchen wench under my very nose.
Under her very nose, good sir, not under yours. That's where I would kiss her. Oh, do you take me? A pretty wit, sir, a pretty, pretty wit.
The maiden comes. Follow me, friend, and we'll discuss this matter at length in my library.
I am your worship's servant. That is to say, I trust I soon shall be. But before proceeding to a more serious topic, can you tell me why a cook's brain pan is like an overwound clock?
A truce to this fooling. Follow me.
Just my luck, my best conundrum wasted.
'Tis done, I am a bride. O little ring that bearest in thy circlet, oh, the gladness that lovers hope for, and that poets sing. What bringest thou to me but gold and sadness? A bridegroom all unknown, save in this wise. Today he dies, today, alas, he dies. Though tear and long-drawn sigh ill-fit a bride, no sadder wife than I the whole world wide. Ah me, yet maids there be who would consent to lose the very rose of youth, the flower of life, to be in honest truth a wedded wife, no matter whose, no matter whose. Ah me, what profit we, oh maids that sigh, though gold should live if wedded love must die. Ere half an hour has done, a widow too brave to die, ah me. Yet wives they be so weary worn, I trow that they would scarce complain, so that they could in half an hour attain to widowhood, no matter how. Oh, weary wives who widowhood would win, rejoice that ye have time to weary. Oh, weary wives who widowhood would win, rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Oh, weary wives, rejoice.
'Tis an odd freak for a dying man and his confessor to be closeted away with a strange singing girl. I would have fain have spied them, but they blocked up the keyhole. My keyhole.
Wilfred, and alone.
Now, what could they have wanted with her? That's what puzzles me.
Now to get the keys from him. Wilfred, has no reprieve arrived?
None. Thine adored Fairfax is to die.
Nay, thou knowest that I have not but pity for the poor condemned gentleman.
I knowest that he who is about to die means more to thee than I who am alive and well.
Why, that were out of reason, dear Wilfred. Do they not say that a live ass is better than a dead lion? No, I don't mean that.
They say that, do they?
It is unpardonably rude of them, but I believe they put it that way. Not that it applies to thee.
No.
Who art clever beyond all telling.
Oh, yes, as an assistant tormentor.
Nay, as a wit, as a humorist, as a most philosophic commentator on the vanity of human resolution.
Well, 'tis true. I have seen great resolution give way under my persuasive methods. Why, in the nice regulation of a thumbscrew, in the 100th part of a single revolution, lieth all the difference between stony reticence and a torrent of unbridled unbosoming the pen can scarcely follow. I am a mad wag, though.
Thou art a most light-hearted and delightful companion, Master Wilfred. Thine anecdotes of the torture chamber are the prettiest hearing.
I am a pleasant fellow, and I choose. Well, I believe I am the merriest dog that barks. And we might be passing happy together.
Perhaps. I do not know.
For thou wouldst make a most tender and loving wife.
Aye, to one whom I really loved. For there is a wealth of love in this little heart, saving up for I wonder whom. Now, of all the world of men, I wonder whom to think that he whom I am to wed is now alive and somewhere. Perhaps far away, perhaps close at hand. And I know him not. It seemeth that I am wasting time in not knowing him.
Now, suppose that it is I. They suppose it for the nonce. And say that we are wed. Nay, suppose it only. And say that thou art my very bride, and I thy cheerful, joyous, frolicsome husband. and the day's work being done, and the prisoners all stored away for the night, and thou and I alone together, with a long, long evening ahead of us.
'Tis a pretty picture, but I scarcely know it cometh so unexpectedly. And yet, were I thy bride.
Wert thou my bride?
Oh, how I would love thee. Were I thy bride, then all the world beside were not too wide to hold my wealth of love. Were I thy bride, upon thy breast my loving head would rest as on her nest the tender turtle dove. Were I thy bride, this heart of mine would be one heart with thine, and in that shrine our happiness would dwell. Were I thy bride, and all day long our life should be a song, no grief, no wrong should make my heart rebel. Were I thy bride, the silvery flute, the melancholy lute, were night owl's hoot to my low whispered coo. Were I thy bride, the skylark's trill were but discordant shrill to the soft thrill of wooing as I'd woo. Were I thy bride, the roses sigh were as a carrion's cry to lullaby such as I'd sing to thee. Were I thy bride, a feather's press were leaden heaviness to my caress. But then, of course, you see, I'm not thy bride.
No, not yet. But Lord, how she wooed. And I should be no mean judge of wooing, seeing as I've been more hotly wooed than most men. Well, I've been wooed by maid, widow, and wife. I've been wooed boldly, timidly, tearfully, shyly. I've been wooed by suggestion, by direct assault. I've been wooed by inference, implication, and innuendo, eh? But this is no wooing of the common order. No, this is one who needs must woo me, if she die for it. Aye, if she die for it.
The deed is so far safely accomplished. To Sly Boots, how she wheedled him. What a helpless ninny is a lovesick man. He's but a lute in a woman's hands. She plays upon him whatever tune she will. But the colonel comes. Faith, he's just in time for the yeoman parade here for his execution in a few minutes.
My good and kind friend, thou runnest a grave risk for me.
Tut, sir, no risk. Our warrant, none here will recognize you. You make a brave yeoman, sir. Here is your halberd. Handle it thus. Now, remember, you are my brave son, Leonard Meryll.
If I cannot bear my own name, there's none other I bear so readily.
Then put a bold face on it, sir, for they come.
welcome news we read in orders. Thy sons whose deeds of daring do are echoed all the country through has come to join the tower warders. If so, we come to meet him, that we may fitly greet him, and welcome his arrival here with shout on shout and cheer on cheer. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah!
Ye tower warders, nursed in war's alarms, suckled on gunpowder and weaned on glory. Behold my son, whose all-subduing arms have formed the theme of many a song and story. Forgive his aged father's pride, nor jeer his aged father's sympathetic tear.
Meryll, Meryll, Lord mercy and time and peril, man of power, knighthood's flower, welcome to the grim old town, to the tower, welcome thou.
Forbear, my friends, and spare me this ovation. I have small claims to such consideration. The tales that of my prowess are narrated have been prodigiously exaggerated. Prodigiously exaggerated.
Wherever valor true is found, true modesty will there abound.
Didst thou not, O Leonard Meryll, standard lost in last campaign, rescue it from deadly peril, bear it safely back again?
Leonard Meryll at his peril, bore it safely back again.
Didst thou not, when prisoner taken and debarred from all escape, face with gallant heart unshaken, death in most appalling shape?
Leonard Meryll faced his peril, death in most appalling shape.
Truly I was to be pitied, having but an hour to live. I reluctantly submitted, I had no alternative. Oh, the tales that I narrated of my deeds of daring do have been much exaggerated, very much exaggerated. Scarce a word of them is true, scarce a word of them is true.
You, when brought to execution, like a demigod of yore, with heroic resolution, snatched a sword and killed a score.
Leonard Meryll, in his peril, snatched a sword and killed a score.
Then escaping from the foeman, bolted with the blood you'd shed, you defiant, dreading no man saved your honor and your head.
Leonard Meryll, faced his peril, led his honor and his head.
True, my course with judgment shaping, favored too by lucky star, I succeeded in escaping prison bolt and prison bar. Oh, the tales that are narrated of my deeds of daring do have been much exaggerated, very much exaggerated. Scarce a word of them is true, scarce a word of them is true.
They are not exaggerated, not all exaggerated, could not be exaggerated.
Scarce a word of them is true. I beg your pardon.
Don't you know me? I'm little Phoebe.
Phoebe, is it Phoebe? What? Little Phoebe? Who the deuce may she be? It can't be Phoebe, surely.
Yes, 'tis Phoebe, your sister Phoebe, your own little sister.
I speaks the truth, 'tis Phoebe.
Sister Phoebe.
Oh, my brother.
Why, how you've grown! I did not recognize you.
So many years. Oh, my brother.
Oh, my sister. Oh, sister. Oh, sister.
I hug him, girl. There are three thou mayst hug, thy father and thy brother and myself.
Thyself, forsooth, and who art thou thyself?
Good sir, we are betrothed.
Or more or less. But rather less than more.
To thy fond care I do commend thy sister. Be to her ever watchful guardian, eagle-eyed, and when she feels, as sometimes she does feel, disposed to indiscriminate caress, be thou at hand to take those favors from her.
Be thou at hand to take those favors from her.
Yes, yes, be thou at hand to take those favors from me.
To thy fraternal care, thy sister I commend. From every lurking snare, thy lovely charge defend. And to achieve this end, O grant, I pray, this boon. O grant this boon. She shall not quit thy sight from morn to afternoon, from afternoon to night, from 7 o'clock to 2, from 2 to eventide, from dim twilight to 11 at night, from dim twilight to 11 at night. She shall not quit thy side.
From morn to afternoon, from afternoon to 11 at night, she shall not quit thy side.
So amiable I've grown, so innocent as well, that if I'm left alone, the consequences fell, no mortal can foretell. So grant, I pray, this boon, oh grant this boon. I shall not quit thy side from morn to afternoon, from afternoon to night, from 7 o'clock to 2, from 2 to eventide, from dim twilight to 11 at night, from dim twilight to 11 at night. I shall not quit thy side.
From morn to afternoon, from afternoon to 11 at night, she shall not quit thy side.
With brotherly readiness for my fair sister's sake, at once I answer yes, that task I undertake. My word I never break, I freely grant that boon, and I'll repeat my plight. From morn to afternoon, from afternoon to night, from 7 o'clock to 2, from 2 to evening meal, from dim twilight to 11 at night, from dim twilight to 11 at night, the compact I will seal. From afternoon to afternoon to afternoon, we rest this boom. My lord, I know not how to tell the news I bear. I and my comrades sought the prisoner's cell. He is not there. He is not there. We sought the prisoner's cell. He is not there.
As escort for the prisoner, we sought his cell in duty bound. The double gratings open were no prisoner at all. We found
We hunted high, we hunted here,
we hunted there.
the man we sought with anxious care had vanished into empty air. The man we sought with anxious care had vanished into empty air.
I might hope the news is that the man has vanished into air.
As escort for the prisoner, we sought his cell in duty bound. The double gratings open were no prisoner at all. We found
We hunted high, we hunted here,
the man we sought with anxious care had vanished into empty air.
the man we sought with anxious care had vanished into empty air.
Astounding news, the prisoner fled. Thy life shall forfeit be instead.
My lord, I did not set him free. I hate the man, my rival he.
The prisoner gone, I'm all again.
Our life shall forfeit be instead.
Who could have helped him to escape?
My lord, I did not set him free.
Indeed, I can't imagine who. I've no idea at all, have you?
What has escaped? No trace his work, and John, it must have been at work.
What have I done? Oh, woe is me! What is free?
Oh, woe is you! Your anguish sink! Oh, woe is me! I rather think, yes, woe is me! I rather think, yes, woe is me! Whate'er betide, you are his bride, and I am left a lonely reft, yes, woe is me! I rather think, yes, woe is me! I rather think, woe is me! All friends be friends with the spirit, all greatest change with all its who is begotten in, who hath contrived this thing to do. Let's search, we may throughout the land for his vindictive anger, that 1,000 marks still have, who begs and they're alive again, who raised him in
Whom do ye ward? What are ye? Whom do ye ward? Not by tea, shackle and cord, fetter and chain, dungeon of stone are in vain, prisoners flown. Spite of all he is free, Whom do ye want, pretty waters are ye?
Here and there and round about, every chamber, every house, every chink that goes a mouse, every crevice in the keep, where a beetle back would creep, every outlet, every drain have we searched, but all in vain, all in vain. Every chink, every drain, every search, but all in vain.
The Merry Jests of Hugh Ambrose, number 7863. The Poor Wit and the Rich Counselor. A certain poor wit, being an hungered, did meet a well-fed counselor. Marry, fool, quoth the counselor, whither away? In truth, said the poor wag, in that I have eaten naught these 2 days, I do wither away, and that right rapidly. The counselor laughed hugely, and gave him a sausage. The counselor was easier to please than my new master the lieutenant. I would like to take post under that counselor. Oh, 'tis but melancholy mumming, when poor heartbroken, jilted Jack Point must needs turn to Hugh Ambrose for a little light humor.
Ah, Master Point.
Friend jailer, jailer that wast, jailer that never shalt be more, jailer that jailed not, or that jailed if jail he did, so unjailily 'twas but jerry-jailing, or jailing in joke, though no joke to him, who by unjailer-like jailing did so jeopardize his jailership. Come, take heart, smile, laugh, wink, twinkle, thou tormentor that tormentest none, thou racker that rackest not, thou pincher out of place. Come, take heart, be merry, as I am. As I am.
'Tis well enough for thee to laugh. Thou hast a good post, and cause enough to be merry.
Cause? Have we not all cause? Is not the world a big butt of humor into which all who will may drive a gimlet? See, I am a salaried wit. Is there aught in nature more ridiculous? A poor, dull, heartbroken man who must needs be merry, or he will be whipped, who must rejoice, or he will starve, who must jest you, jibe you, quip you, crank you, rock you, riddle you, from hour to hour, from day to day, from year to year, lest he dwindle, perish, starve, pine, and die. Why, when I've naught else to laugh at, I laugh at myself until I ache for it.
And yet, I have often thought that a jester's calling would suit me to a hair.
Thee?
Oh, aye.
would suit thee, thou death's head and crossbones?
Well, I have a bright, airy, joysome wit, spiced with anecdotes of prison cells and torture chambers. A delicate wit, sir. I have often tried it on many a prisoner, and some have even smiled. It's not easy to make a prisoner smile, and it shouldn't be difficult to be a good jester, seeing as thou art one.
Oh, difficult. Nothing easier, nothing easier. Attend, and I will prove it to thee. Oh, a private buffoon is a light-hearted loon if you listen to popular rumor. From the morn to the night, he's so joyous and bright, and he bubbles with wit and good humor. He's so quaint and so terse, both in prose and in verse, yet though people forgive his transgression, there are one or two rules that all family fools must observe if they love their profession. There are one or two rules, half a dozen maybe, that all family fools of whatever degree must observe if they love their profession. If you wish to succeed as a jester, you'll need to consider each person's auricula. What is all right for B would quite scandalize C, for C is so very particular. And D may be dull, and E's very thick skull is as empty of brains as a ladle, while F is F sharp, and will cry with a carp that he's known your best joke from his cradle. When your humor they flout, you can't let yourself go, and it does put you out when a person says, "Oh, I have known that old joke from me cradle." If your master is surly from getting up early and tempers are short in the morning, an inopportune joke is enough to provoke him to give you at once a month's warning. Then if you refrain, he is at you again, for he likes to get value for money. He'll ask then and there, with an insolent stare, if you know that you're paid to be funny. It adds to the tasks of a merry man's place, when your principal asks with a scowl on his face, if you know that you're paid to be funny. Comes a bishop maybe, or a solemn DD, oh beware of his anger provoking. Better not pull his hair, don't stick pins in his chair, he don't understand practical joking. If the jest that you crack have an orthodox smack, you may get a bland smile from these sages, but should they by chance be imported from France, half a crown is stopped out of your wages. It's a general rule, though your zeal it may quench. If the family fool tells a joke that's too French, half a crown is stopped out of his wages. Though your head it may rack with a bilious attack and your senses with toothache you're losing, don't be mopey and flat, they don't fine you for that, if you're properly quaint and amusing. Though your wife ran away with a soldier that day and took with her your trifle of money, bless your heart, they don't mind, they're exceedingly kind. They don't blame you as long as you're funny. It's a comfort to feel if your partner should flit. Though you suffer a deal, they don't mind it a bit. They don't blame you so long as you're funny. Aye, so thou wouldst be a jester, eh?
Oh, aye.
Now listen. My sweetheart, Elsie Maynard, was secretly wed to this Fairfax half an hour ere he escaped.
Ah, she did well.
She did nothing of the kind, so hold thy peace and perpend. Now, while he liveth, she is dead to me and I to her. So my jibes and jokes notwithstanding, I'm the saddest and sorriest dog in England.
Yes, thou art a very dull dog indeed.
Now, if thou wilt swear that thou didst shoot this Fairfax while he was trying to swim across the river, it needs but the discharge of an arquebus on a dark night, and that he sank and was seen no more, I'll make thee the very Archbishop of Jesters, and that in 2 days' time. Now what sayest thou?
I am to lie?
Heartily! But thy lie must be a lie of circumstance, which I will support with testimony of eyes, ears, and tongue.
And thou wilt qualify me as a jester?
As a jester among jesters, I will teach thee all my original songs, my self-constructed riddles, my own ingenious paradoxes. Nay more, I will teach thee the source whence I get them. Now, what sayest thou?
Well, if it's but a lie thou wantest of me, I hold it cheap enough. I say yes, it is a bargain.
Hereupon we both agreed, all that we two do agree to, will secure by solemn deed, to prevent all errand mental.
You are Elsie, are to call with the story grim and gory.
How this Fairfax died in all, I declare to, you're to swear to.
I to swear to.
I declare to.
I to swear to.
I declare to.
I to swear to. You declare to. I to swear to.
Tell a tale of cock and bull, of convincing detail full. Tale tremendous, heaven defend us. What a tale of cock and bull. In return for my own part, I am making undertaking to instruct you in the art amazing, wonder-raising
of a jester, jesting free, proud position, high ambition.
And a lively one I'll be, wagger-wagging, never flagging.
Wagger-wagging,
never flagging.
Wagger-wagging,
never flagging.
never flagging. Wagger-wagging, never flagging.
Tell a tale of cock and bull, of convincing detail full. Tale tremendous, heaven defend us. What a tale of cock and bull.
What a tale of cock.
What a tale of bull.
What a tale of cock.
What a tale of bull.
What a tale of cock and bull. Cock and bull. Cock and bull. Heaven defend us. What a tale of cock and bull. Is that the best you can do? Oh, we have work to do. We have work to do. Oh, boy. Oh.
"2 days gone, and no news of poor Fairfax, the dolts. They seek him everywhere save within a dozen yards from his dungeon. So I am free, except for the cursed haste with which I hurried headlong into the bonds of matrimony with heaven knows whom. As far as I remember, she should have been young, but had her face not been concealed by her kerchief, I doubt whether, in my then plight, I should have taken much note of her. Free? The tower bonds were but a thread of silk compared to these conjugal fetters which I, fool that I was, placed upon my own hands. From the ones I broke readily enough, how to break the other? Free from his fetters grim, free to depart, free in both life and limb, in all but heart, bound to an unknown bride for good and ill. Ah, is not one so tied, a prisoner still, a prisoner still. Ah, is not one so tied, a prisoner still. Free, yet in fetters held, till his last hour, gyves that no smith can weld, no rust devour. Although a monarch's hand had set him free, of all the captive band, the saddest he, the saddest he, of all the captive band, the saddest courtesy. Well, Sergeant Meryll, and how fares thy pretty charge, Elsie Maynard?
Well enough, sir. She's quite strong again and leaves us tonight.
Thanks to Dame Carruthers' kind nursing, aye?
Aye, deuce take the old witch. 'Twas but a sorry trick you played me, sir, to bring the fainting girl to me. You gave the old lady an excuse to set up her quarters in my house. And for the last 2 years, I've shunned her like the plague. Another day of it, she would have married me. Good Lord, here she is again. I'll e'en go.
Nay, Sergeant Meryll, don't go. I have something of grave import to say to thee.
It's coming.
In faith, I think I'm not wanted here.
Nay, Master Leonard, I've naught to say to thy father that his son might not hear.
True, I'm one of the family. I had forgotten.
'Tis about this Elsie Maynard, a pretty girl, Master Leonard.
Aye, fair as a peach blossom. What then?
She hath a liking for thee, and I mistake not.
With all my heart, she's as dainty a little maid you'll find in a midsummer day's march.
Then be warned in time, and give not thy heart to her. Oh, I know what it is to give my heart to one who'll have none of it.
Aye, she knows all about that. And why should my boy take heed of her? She's a good girl, Dame Carruthers.
Good enough, for aught I know, but she's no girl. She's a married woman.
A married woman, tosh old lady. She's promised to Jack Point, the lieutenant's new jester.
Tosh in thy teeth, old man. As my niece Kate sat by her bedside today, this Elsie slept. And as she slept, she moaned and groaned and turned this way and that way, and how shall I marry one I have never seen, quoth she. Then 100 crowns, quoth she. Then is it certain he's to die in an hour, quoth she. Then I love him not, and yet I am his wife, quoth she. Is it not so, Kate?
Aye, aunt, 'tis even so.
Art thou sure of all this?
Aye, sir, for I wrote it all down in my tablets.
Now mark my words. It was of this Fairfax she spake, and he is her husband, or I'll swallow my kirtle.
Is it true, sir?
True, why the girl was raving. Why should she marry a man who has but an hour to live?
Oh, marry? I know those who would marry but for a minute rather than die old maids.
Aye, I know one of them.
Strange adventure, maiden wedded to a groom she's never seen, never, never, never seen. Groom about to be beheaded in an hour on Tower Green, Tower, Tower, Tower Green. Groom in dreary dungeon lying, groom as good as dead or dying, for a pretty maiden sighing, pretty maid of 17, 17. Strange adventure that we're trolling, modest maid and gallant groom, gallant, gallant, gallant groom. While the funeral bell is tolling, 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 bim-ba-boom, bim-ba, bim-ba, bim-ba-boom. Modest maiden will not tarry, though but 16 years
So my mysterious bride is no other than the winsome Elsie. By my hand, 'tis no such ill plunge in fortune's lucky bag. I might have fared worse with my eyes open, but she comes, now to test her principles. 'Tis not every husband who has the chance of wooing his own wife. Mistress Elsie.
Master Leonard.
So thou leavest us tonight?
Yes, Master Leonard, I have been kindly tended, and I almost fear I am loath to go.
And this Fairfax, wast thou glad when he escaped?
Why, truly, Master Leonard, it is a sad thing that a young and gallant gentleman should die in the very fullness of his life.
Then, when thou didst faint in my arms, it was for joy at his safety.
Oh, it may be so. I was highly wrought, Master Leonard, and I am but a girl, and when I am highly wrought, I faint.
Dost thou know I am consumed with a parlous jealousy?
Thou, and of whom?
Why, of this Fairfax, surely.
Of Colonel Fairfax?
Aye. Shall I be frank with thee? Elsie, I love thee ardently, passionately. Elsie, I have loved thee these 2 days, which is a long time, and would fain join my life to thine.
Oh, Master Leonard, thou art jesting.
Jesting? May I shrivel into raisins if I jest. I love thee with a love that is a fever, with a love that is a frenzy, with a love that eateth up my heart. What sayest thou? Will thou let my heart be eaten up?
Oh, mercy. What am I to say?
Dost thou love me, or hast thou been insensible these 2 days?
I love all brave men.
Nay, there is love in excess. I thank heaven there are many brave men in England, but if thou lovest them all, I withdraw my thanks.
I love the bravest best, but, oh, sir, I may not listen. I am not free. I am a wife.
Thou a wife? Whose? His hours are numbered. Nay, his grave is dug and epitaph set up.
Oh.
Come, his name.
Sir, keep my secret. It is the only barrier that fate could set up between us. My husband is none other than Colonel Fairfax.
The greatest villain unhung, the most ill-favored, ill-mannered, ill-natured, ill-omened, ill-tempered dog in Christendom.
It is very like, for he is not to me. I never saw him. I was blindfolded, and he was to have died within the hour, and he did not die, and I am wedded to him, and my heart is broken.
He was to have died, and he did not die? A scoundrel, the perjured, traitorous villain. Thou shouldst have insisted on his dying first to make sure. 'Tis the only way with these Fairfaxes.
No. I now wish I had.
Bloodthirsty little maiden. A fig for this Fairfax. Be mine. He will never know. He dare not show himself. And if he dare, what art thou to him? Oh, fly with me, Elsie. Tomorrow we will be wedded, and thou shalt be the happiest wife in England.
Master Leonard, I am amazed. Is it thus that brave soldiers speak to poor girls? Oh, for shame, for shame. I am wed, not the less because I love not my husband. I am a wife, sir, and I have a duty, and, oh, sir, thy words terrify me. They are not honest. They are wicked words, and unworthy of thy great and brave heart. Oh, shame upon thee! Shame upon thee!
Oh, nay, Elsie, I did but jest. I spake but to try thee.
Hark, hark, what was that, sir?
Why, an arquebus fired from the ward, unless I much mistake.
Strange, and at such an hour. What can it mean?
Shot. At once the truth declare, my lord, 'twas I, to rashly judge forbear.
My lord, 'twas he, to rashly judge forbear.
Like a ghostly vigil keeping.
Or a spectre all appalling.
I beheld a figure creeping.
I should rather call it crawling.
He was creeping.
He was crawling.
He was creeping, creeping.
Crawling.
He was creeping.
He was crawling.
He was creeping, creeping.
Crawling.
Not a moment's hesitation, I myself upon him flung. With a hurried exclamation to his draperies I clung. And we closed with one another in a rough and tumble smother. Colonel Fairfax and no other was the man to whom I clung.
Colonel Fairfax and no other, Colonel Fairfax and no other, Colonel Fairfax and no other was the man to whom he clung.
After mighty tug and tussle,
it resembled more a struggle.
He by dint of stronger muscle,
or by some infernal juggle,
from my clutches quickly sliding,
I should rather call it slipping,
with a view no doubt of hiding,
or escaping to the shipping,
with a gasp and with a quiver,
I describe it as a shiver.
Down he dived into the river, and alas, I cannot swim.
It was enough to make one shiver with a gasp and with a quiver. Down he dived into the river, it was very brave of him.
Ingenuity is catching with a view, my king of pleasing, arquebus from sentry snatching.
I should rather call it seizing.
With an ounce or two of lead, I dispatched him through the head.
With an ounce or two of lead, he dispatched him through the head.
I discharged him without winking. Little time I lost in thinking. Like a stone I saw him sinking.
I should say a lump of lead.
He discharged him without winking. Little time he lost in thinking.
Like a stone I saw him sinking.
I should say a lump of lead.
Like a stone, my boy, I said.
Like a heavy lump of lead.
Like a stone, my boy, I said.
Like a heavy lump of lead.
Anyhow the man is dead, where the stone a lump of lead.
Anyhow the man is dead, where the stone a lump of lead. Arquebus from sentry seizing, with the view my king of pleasing. Arquebus from sentry seizing, with the view my king of pleasing. They shot him through the head, and he's very, very dead. And it matters very little where the stone a lump of lead. It is very, very certain that he's very, very dead.
Stone.
Lead.
The river must be dragged, no time be lost. The body must be found at any cost. To this attend without undue delay. So set to work with what dispatch ye may.
Yes, yes, we'll set to work with what dispatch we may.
Nay, sweetheart, be comforted. This Fairfax was but a pestilent fellow, and as he had to die, he might as well die thus as any other way. 'Twas a good death.
Oh, still, he was my husband, and had he not been, he was nevertheless a living man, and now he is dead. And so, by your leave, my tears may flow unchidden. Oh, Master Point!
And thou didst see all this.
Aye, with both eyes at once, this and that. The testimony of one eye is not, he may lie, but when corroborated by the other, it is good evidence that none may gainsay. Here are both present in court, ready to swear to him.
But art thou sure it was Colonel Fairfax? Saw you his face?
Ah, and a plaguey, ill-favored face it was, too. A very hangdog face, a felon face, a face to fright the headsman himself and make him strike awry. Oh, a bad, plaguey face, take my word for it. How they laugh! 'Tis ever thus with simple folk. An accepted wit has but to say, pass the mustard, and they roar their ribs out.
If I ever come to life again, thou shalt pay for this, Master Point.
Now, Elsie, thou art free to choose again. Behold me. I am young and well-favored. I have a pretty wit. I can jest you, jibe you, quip you, crank you, rack you, riddle you.
Tush, man, thou knowest not how to woo. 'Tis not done with time-worn jest or threadbare sophistries, with quips, conundrums, rhymes, and paradoxes. 'Tis an art in itself, and must be studied gravely and conscientiously. A man who would woo a fair maid should prentice himself to the trade and study all day in methodical way how to flatter, cajole, and persuade. He should prentice himself at 14 and practice from morning to e'en. And when he's of age, if he will, I'll engage he may capture the heart of a queen, the heart of a queen. It is purely a matter of skill, which all may attain if they will. But every Jackie must study the knack if he wants to make sure of his Jill, if he wants to make sure of his Jill.
If he's made the best use of his time, his twig he'll so carefully lie, that every bird will come down at his word, whatever its plumage or clime. He must learn that the thrill of a touch may mean little or nothing or much. It's an instrument rare to be handled with care, and not to be treated as such. To be treated as such.
It is purely a matter of skill, which all may attain if they will. But every Jackie must study the knack if he wants to make sure of his Jill, if he wants to make sure of his Jill.
Then a glance may be timid or free, it will vary in mighty degree, from an impudent stare to a look of despair that no maid without pity can see. And a glance of despair is no guide, it may have its ridiculous side. It may draw you a tear or a box on the ear. You can never be sure till you've tried. Never be sure till you've tried.
It is purely a matter of skill, which all may attain if they will. But every Jackie must study the knack if he wants to make sure of his Jill, if he wants to make sure of his Jill. But every Jack must study the knack, but every Jack must study the knack if he wants to make sure of his Jill. Yes, every Jack must study the knack if he wants to make sure of his Jill. Now listen to me, 'tis done thus. Mistress Elsie, as thou knowest, there is one here who loves thee right well.
Oh, that he does right well.
He is but a man of poor estate, but he hath a loving, honest heart. He will be a true and trusty husband to thee, and if thou wilt be his wife, thou shalt lie curled up in his heart, like a little squirrel in its nest.
Oh, 'tis a pretty figure. A maggot in a nut lies closer, but a squirrel will do.
He knows that thou wast a wife, an unloved and unloving wife, and his poor heart was near to breaking. But now that thine unloving husband is dead, and thou art free, he would fain pray that thou wouldst hearken unto him, and hope that thou wouldst one day be his.
Oh, he presses her hands and whispers in her ear. Oh, Bodkins, what does it mean?
So, my sweetheart, what sayest thou? Wilt thou be this poor good fellow's wife?
If the poor brave man, is he a brave man?
So men say.
Oh, that's not true, but let it pass.
If the brave man would be content with a poor, penniless, untaught maid,
Widow. Oh, but let that pass.
I will be his true and loving wife, and that with my heart of hearts.
My own dear love.
What What's all this? Brother, oh, brother, it is not seemly.
Hold enough, Master Leonard. An advocate should have his fee, but methinks thou art overpaying thyself.
Nay, that is for Elsie to say. I promised thee I would show thee how to woo, and here lies the proof of the virtue of my teaching. Go thou and apply it elsewhere.
When a wooer goes a-wooing, naught is truer than his joy.
Maiden hushing all his hewing, boldly blushing, bravely coy, bravely coy, boldly blushing.
Oh, the happy days of doing.
Happy days of doing, all the sighing and the sewing, when a wooer goes a-wooing, oh, the sweets that never cloy.
When a brother leaves his sister for another sister weeps, tears that trickle, tears that blister, 'tis but mickle sister leaves, 'tis that trickle, tears that blister.
Oh, the doing and undoing.
Oh, the doing and undoing, all the sighing and the sewing, when a brother goes a-wooing, and a sobbing sister weeps.
When the jester is outwitted, feelings fester, heart is led, food for fishes only fitted, jester wishes he were dead. Food for fishes only fitted, jester wishes he were dead.
Oh, the doing and undoing, all the sighing and the sewing, when a jester goes a-wooing, and he wishes he were dead. Oh, the doing and undoing, all the sighing and the sewing, when a jester goes a-wooing, and he wishes he were dead. He wishes he were dead.
And I helped that man to escape. And I kept his secret. And pretended I was his dearly loving sister and done everything I could think of to make folk believe I was his loving sister. And this is his gratitude. Before I pretend to be sister to anybody again, I'll turn nun and be sister to everybody. One as much as another.
In tears what a plague art thou grizzling for now?
Why am I grizzling? Thou hast often wept for jealousy. Well, 'tis for jealousy I weep now. I yellow, bilious, jaundiced jealousy. So make the most of that, Master Wilfred.
Well, I've never given thee cause to be jealous. The lieutenant's cook maid and I are but the merest gossips.
Jealous of thee? Bah! I'm jealous of no craven cook on a hill who crows about what he'd do and he dared. I am jealous of another, and a better man than thou. Set that down, Master Wilfred. And he is to marry Elsie Maynard, the pale little fool. Set that down, Master Wilfred. And my heart is well nigh broken. There, thou hast it all. Make the most of it.
The man that thou lovest is to marry Elsie Maynard. Well, there is no other than thy brother, Leonard Meryll. What?
Oh, mercy, what have I said?
Why, what manner of brother is this? Come, thou hussy, speak. Who is this man whom thou hast called brother, and fondled, and coddled, and kissed, and with my connivance too, oh Lord, with my connivance? Should it be this Fairfax? Aha! It is this Fairfax. Oh, this accursed Fairfax. Fairfax, who I'll
has just shot through the head and who lies at the bottom of the river.
I may have been mistaken on that count. We're all but fallible mortals, the very best of us. But I'll make sure. Oh, I'll make sure.
Stay, one word. I think it cannot be Fairfax. Mind I say, I think, because thou hast just slain Fairfax. But whether he be Fairfax or no Fairfax, he is to marry Elsie, and as thou hast shot him through the head, and he is dead, be content with that, and I will be thy wife.
Is that sure?
Aye, sure enough, for there's no help for it. Thou art a very brute, but even brutes must marry, I suppose.
My beloved!
Phoebe! Rejoice, I bring glad tidings. Colonel Fairfax's reprieve was signed 2 days since, but it was foully and maliciously kept back by Secretary Poltwhistle, who designed that it should arrive after the colonel's death. It hath just come to hand, and it is now in the lieutenant's possession.
Oh, then the colonel is free? Oh, kiss me, my dear, kiss me again and again.
Hodsbot! Death of my life! Are you mad? Am I mad? Are we all mad?
Oh, my dear, I'm like crazed with joy.
Oh, come away from him, thou kissing, clinging cockatrice, thou! Oh, and as for thee, sir, oh, I'll rip thee, I will. Oh, skin thee like a herring, I will. I'll cleave thee to the chine, I will. Phoebe, who is this man?
Peace, fool. He is my brother.
Another brother? Are there any more of them? Produce them all at once and let me know the worst.
This is the real Leonard, dolt. The other was but his substitute. The real Leonard, I say, my father's own son.
Oh, and how am I to know this? Has he brother at large on his brow? Oh, I mistrust thy brothers, thou hussy, thou jade.
Now, Wilfred, be just. Truly, I did deceive thee before, but it was to save a precious life, and to save it not for me, but for another. They are to be wed this very day. Is that not enough for thee? Come, I am thy Phoebe, thy very own, and we will be wed in a year, or 2, or 3 at the very most. Is that not enough for thee?
Phoebe, I'm nigh mad with joy. Oh, you've heard the brave news.
Aye, Father.
What's all this?
Oh, Father, he discovered our secret through my folly, and the price of his silence is...
Phoebe's heart.
Oh, dear. No. Phoebe's hand.
It is the same thing.
Is it?
'Tis pity, but the colonel had to be saved at any cost, and as 'twas thy folly that revealed our secret, thy folly must e'er suffer for it.
So,
Dame Carruthers.
this is a plot to shield this arch-fiend, and I have detected it. A word from me, and 3 heads besides his would roll from their shoulders.
Nay, Colonel Fairfax is reprieved. And yet, if my complicity in his escape were known, Oh, plague on the old meddler. There's nothing for it. Hush, pretty one. Such bloodthirsty words ill become those cherry lips.
Sergeant Meryll.
Now, look ye, Chuck, for many a month I've thought to myself, there's snug love saving up in that middle-aged bosom for someone, and why not for thee? That's me. So take heart and tell her, that's thee, that thou, that's me, lovest her, thee, and well, I'm a miserable old man, and I've done it, and that's me. But not a word about this Fairfax. The price of thy silence is...
Meryl's heart.
No, Meryl's hand.
It's the same thing.
Is it?
Rapture, rapture, when love's votary, flush with capture, seeks the notary. Joy and jollity, then is polity, reigns frivolity. Rapture, rapture, joy and jollity, then is polity, reigns frivolity. Rapture, rapture.
Doleful, doleful, when humanity with its soulful love, satanity, courting privity, down declivity, seeks captivity. Doleful, doleful, courting privity, down declivity, seeks captivity. Doleful, doleful.
Joyful, joyful, when virginity seeks a coyful man's affinity. Feet of flowery, bright and bowery, is her dowry. Joyful, joyful, feet of flowery, bright and bowery, is her dowry. Joyful, joyful.
Ghastly, ghastly, when man sorrowful, firstly, lastly, of tomorrowful, after tarrying, yields to harrying, goes a marrying. Ghastly, ghastly.
Joyful, joyful.
Ghastly, ghastly.
Joyful, joyful.
Ghastly, 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 ghastly. Doleful, doleful, when humanity with its soul full of satanity, courting privity, down declivity, seeks captivity. Doleful, doleful, courting privity, down declivity, seeks captivity.
Rapture, rapture.
Doleful, doleful.
Rapture, rapture.
Doleful, doleful, doleful. Doleful, doleful, doleful. Courting privity, down declivity, seeks captivity, doleful, doleful.
Arms are pretty and bright and light.
I bring to thee news, good or ill. It is for thee to say, thy husband lives, and he is free, and comes to claim his bride this very day.
No, recall those words, it cannot be.
Mine is a heart of massive rock, unmoved by sentimental shock.
Thine husband he.
Leonard, my loved one, come to me. They bear me hence away. But though they take me far from thee, my heart is thine forever. My bruised heart, my broken heart is thine, thine own forever. Is thine, is thine, my own is Sir, I obey. I am thy bride. But in the fatal hour I said the sea that placed me in thy power, would I have died? Sir, I obey. I am thy bride.
My own!
With happiness my soul is joined. This is a joy day unalloyed. Yes, with happiness my souls are joined. This is a joy day unalloyed. With happiness my souls are joined. This is a joy day unalloyed. Joy day
Oh, thoughtless crew, you know not what you do. Attend to me and shed a tear or two, for I have a song to sing. Oh. It is sung to the moon by a love-lorn loon who fled from the mocking throng. Oh, it's the song of a merry man moping mum, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love of a lady.
It is sung with the ring of the songs made sing, who love with a love lifelong. It's the song of a merry maid nestling near, who loved her annoyed, but who dropped a tear at the moan of a merry man moping among, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love of a lady.
It is sung to the moon by a lovelorn loon who fled from the mocking throng. Oh, it's the song of a merry man moping mum, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love of a lady. Hey, hey, misery me, lack-a-day-dee. He sipped no sup and he craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love of a lady.
I have a song to sing, oh.
What is your song, oh?
It is sung with the ring of the songs made sing, who love with a love lifelong. Oh, it's the song of a merry maid, peerly proud, who loved her lord and who laughed aloud at the moan of a merry man moping mum, whose soul was sad and whose glance was glum, who sipped no sup and who craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love of a lady. Hey, hey, misery me like a deity. He sipped no sup and he craved no crumb, as he sighed for the love